Welcome to Leader Lifestyle Hub. As we have set the target of completing 200 book summaries in the entire year, here we are at the book number 100. And the name of the book that we have today is Brainfluence. The tagline of the book is 100 Ways to Persuade and Convince Consumers with Neuromarketing, written by Roger Dule. The targeted audience of this book is the blogger who would like to know how to get people to listen to him more. So the first targeted audience is blogger who would like to know how to get people to listen to him more. And the 24-year-old marketing student that is doing summer sales. And anyone whose job requires them to sell anything, any product or service. For those people, this book is helpful guide. Brainfluence, 100 Ways to Persuade and Convince Consumers with Neuromarketing. So let us see the synopsis. Brainfluence will help you get more sales by revealing people's subconscious thinking and their motivations in the decision-making process they use when buying. Let us listen from the author, Roger Dule. Let us see who is Roger Dule also. Roger Dule is an international keynote speaker. It went off. International keynote speaker. Sorry. Who was a guest on the weekly CRO. I think so. Something is happening. Let us see about. Is the author of and keynote speaker as the pandemic shut down in-person events. He built a studio to conduct virtual keynotes and remote workshops. Generally, keynote speaker means in the offline events, they will start the speaking, right? You know about keynotes. But he started virtual keynotes and remote workshops. His books include Friction, Brainfluence, and he writes the popular blog Neuromarketing and a column at Forbes.com. He founded College Confidential, the leading college-bound website. The business was acquired by a Hobson's, where Dule served as a VP Digital Marketing, like Vice President of Digital Marketing. He was recently named a top 50 global thought leader on customer loyalty. So he is saying that what people really want is the ability to connect to each other, not to companies. So what people really want is the ability to connect to each other, not to companies. I was once talking with a person who was getting a degree in communications and specializing in marketing. This person was trying to tell me that psychology was not really science and did not have any use in the practical world. I found myself trying to persuade them that the study of the brain was very real and extremely useful, but it was not working. They seemed stuck in their ways. Then it hit me. Marketing is a psychology. Let me repeat. Marketing is psychology. We often think of selling as just hiring a sales team and pushing them to meet quotas, like this so and so targets will be given to them, and then we push that sales team to meet the deadlines. But the reality is that it's got a lot more to do with the understanding how our brains interact with our environment. This is why Roger Dule's book Brainfluence, 100 Ways to Persuade and Convince Consumers with Neuromarketing is so important. If you want to understand the science of selling, so you can have more success, this is the book for you. Let us see the top 3 lessons. These are the 3 of my favorite lessons from this book. Putting a baby in your ad will make it more effective. Putting a baby in your ad will make it more effective. So let us see the lesson number 2. If you are trying to talk someone into making a purchase, meet in person and speak into their right ear. And the third powerful lesson is the element of surprise is one of the best ways of getting people's attention so they buy more. Let me repeat 3 things. Put a baby on your ad. If you are trying to talk someone into make a purchase, meet in person and speak into their right ear. The element of surprise is one of the best ways of getting people's attention so they buy more. You need to get the people's attention before making a purchase. Let's dive right into discover the secrets of psychology that makes selling easier. Let us see the lesson number 1. Ads are more effective when they contain pictures of babies. If you are scrolling through your social media, how often do you stop on posts that only contain text? In my case, if I see any post containing only text, I'll simply skip and go for the next one. I find myself paying attention to anything with the images more than anything else. This is what I also do. So if you see any YouTube ad or Facebook ad or Instagram ad, if it contains only text, we simply skip it, and if it contains images, we grab attention over there. But not all pictures are created equally when it comes to marketing. It is always better to use photos of people's faces to get more attention. And the best way to get people to notice you is to include a baby's face. Research confirms this too. Scientists have found that it only takes a few hundred milliseconds for the part of the brain associated with the emotion to light up after seeing a picture of a baby. Scientists have found that it only takes a few hundred milliseconds for the part of the brain associated with the emotion to light up after seeing a picture of a baby. This makes sense evolutionarily as well. Babies cannot take care of themselves and are more vulnerable to predators. If they pull at our feelings, however, we take care of them and their odds of surviving increase. It is hardwired into everyone to pay attention to babies' faces. So use baby faces in the ads. And for some more bonus attention points, make the baby in your image look at what you are trying to sell. Let us take an example. James Bees, a usability specialist from Australia, teaches that our eyes will go to wherever the people in an ad are looking. In the ad, where people are looking, our attention goes there. In simple terms, when you use the face of an infant, small kid, that is looking at the viewer, people will just look at them. But if the kid is looking at a subscription box or a product or headline, that's where the audience will direct their eyes. Like some people say that, hey, see this, like this they will do. So here comes like that. Lot of ads you might have seen. So here is the main powerful lesson. Ads are more effective when they contain the pictures of babies and make the attention with the help of eyesight when you are putting an ad in the video. Let us see the lesson number 2. Meet with people in person and speak into the right ear to make them more likely to listen to you. Engaging people's senses is another powerful tool of persuasion that Dule teaches. One of the best ways to take advantage of this is by marketing to people in person. Some might argue that getting right to the business is important, but this does not usually work so well. Instead, start with a small talk. You will see a much better end result. Perhaps you have heard of the ultimatum game. Let me see, what is this ultimatum game? So this ultimatum game is a game that has become more popular instrument of economic experiments. So yeah, we'll see that ultimatum game later. Two participants get an amount of money and one gets to split it while the other has to choose whether or not to take the split. So two participants get an amount. Let us say 1,000 rupees they are getting amount, and one gets to split it while the other has to choose whether or not to take the split. If the individual deciding whether to accept the offer declines, neither wins. This sounds fun, but what does this have to do with the power of small talk when selling? Research by Al Roth shows that letting the subjects talk before the game has dramatic effects on outcomes. 83% more offers are fair and only 5% get rejected. In other words, casual conversation goes a long way. Casual conversation goes a long way. And as long as you are talking to someone, make sure that you are on their right side. Studies done by scientists at University Gabriele di Annunzio in Italy discovered that people trust information spoken into their right eye. Even when making requests, you have a higher chance of success by following this pattern. One place the researchers observed this was in night clubs, like in pubs and clubs. They discovered that most people talked into each other's right ears. In testing this, by asking people for cigarettes, they had more success by speaking into their right ear. So, another important lesson, whenever you meet with the people in person in a large gathering, speak into their right ear, so that to make them more likely to listen to you. And let us see the lesson number 3. To get people's attention and make them buy more, surprise them. Let us see pineapples. I'll bet you are not expecting the one, were you? But you have probably listening to me right now. That's because I surprised you with something you didn't expect. Let us look at how this works on a psychological level. UK researchers have identified the hippocampus as the place in our brains that allows us to predict what will happen next. This small part of brains uses the sequence of the events that we normally follow when we get certain cues to anticipate the next event. Let us see an example. For example, when your brain saw the lesson number 3 above in the title, it used the information it got when you read what came in lesson 1 and lesson 2 to predict what would happen next. Means you will eventually think about lesson 1 and lesson 3. Not only lessons, if you see the web series, if you watch any episode of web series of episode 5 or episode 4, you eventually recover the previous lessons and you predict the upcoming series. When I used the surprising word pineapple first, instead of going into why surprise works, it got you to react. Pineapples means you imagine the pineapple. One way you can practice this is by replacing a word in a common phrase. Suppose if you have a coffee shop, you might use coffee it up instead of cough it up. You can also try to surprise people with a unique design or image as well. This technique even dates back to the days and writings of Shakespeare. He would often misuse words or misspell words or invent new words altogether. Some scholars say that this is the main reason that his writings are so popular even today. So mistakes are blessings sometimes. So if you want to make people pay attention to whatever you are selling, put a bird on it. That means surprise them. So 3 things, very powerful lessons. Brainfluence. In the Brainfluence, we have to remember 3 lessons. One is put a picture of baby in an ad. When you are talking to the person, talk into the right ear. And the third one is surprise the people with their attention to focus on you rather than focusing on other activities. That's how the Brainfluence suggesting us 100 ways to persuade and convincing consumers with neuromarketing. Let us see what is the neuromarketing means. Neuromarketing is the study of psychological and neural signals to gain insight into customer motivation. It is the application of neuroscience and cognitive science to marketing. This includes market research that tries to discover customer needs. I hope so it is clear. And if you have any queries, you can shoot out right now. And if I love to listen from you with the help of comments. Thank you so much. See you in another book summary upcoming month.